Hi everyone and welcome back. Welcome to my playlist. And in this video, we are going to cover one-to-many relationship with Mongoose and Node.js. We are doing a read-write operations to the MongoDB database, and here we are going to understand one-to-many relationship. Okay, how to manage these kind of relationship in the collection. In the previous video, we have covered one-to-one relationship. Okay, so what I will do is I will copy couple of things. So here we are going to work on one-to-many folder. Here we will just do some installation like Mongoose and all. So I will do npm init install Mongoose, npm install minus save Mongoose. It's just like another folder, but these are repetitive steps which we have already done. So it's one to many, and I will create models.js file, and I will create another file index.js where we are going to play with different models. And this is our index.js file, and I will copy the existing content we have which contains the code, okay, how to connect to the database and all. I think this code we can reuse, rest all we can dump. Okay, so in this example what we are going to talk about is the multiple collections, and we will see how we can do one-to-many relationship in those all collections. Okay, so let's see this, and we can talk about a simple example is, let's say we have a category like a tutorial system. You are there is a collection tutorial which contains the author, or it can be a blog. Okay, on the blog you define the category of the blog, you define the comments in the blog, you define all the images, the author of the blog, the title of the blog and all. Okay, so first of all we will create a category, and then we will see what all different kind of relationship we can define. ID is fine, rest all we can delete. In the category we can have the name and the description, like what is the category name. It should be string, and then we can have one more like categories. If you are writing a tutorial on nestjs, node.js, express, mongodb or something like that, so label string. Okay, so this is our category. Now we can have the comments, because you are writing blog posts, so obviously there will be some comments from the users, and we are trying to see how the structure is going to look like. So here we have a username, the text inside the comment, and created at, let's say, do we have something called date? Yes, and text is string, username is string, and this is our comments. And then we have another collection which we can create. The name of the collection is images, because in the blog post we can have multiple images, and the properties is like the path, URL, caption and all. What is the path, what is the URL, caption. Okay, these all are the attributes for the image. Now we have tutorials, another model, tutorial or blog, whatever you can think of. And inside blog we have multiple columns. Okay, it looks like I created many. I will delete couple of these. Okay, I do have a title, author, and then I have images. So images is of type array because there are multiple images. Then I have references like comments. Now comments will be a reference here. Okay, so I can just create this as a type mixed. Okay, there is already a schema. So comments, right? So it is going to represent comments, and then I have category. It is going to represent the category schema, and then so comments category, even author. If you have a user collection, the author can represent the user object ID. Okay, but these are array, so you can select these because these are an array. Okay, this is magically adding the array, right? So this is nice tool to actually create a structure, and I will just mark it close. So now you can see I put the references. This blog or the tutorial is a collection which is containing the array of references for category. I think category is going to be a single category, so we can remove the array from there. So category is the category object ID. Comments, like you will be user will be multiple users will be putting the comments. So comments is an array of object IDs. Images, no object ID, it is just an embedded document. Multiple images can be stored in the form of an array. Okay, so we have comments, images, author, title and all. This is the blog. Now how can we store, fetch the data which is being stored into multiple collections? We will create single category, we will create multiple comments, we will create the images, and then we will create a tutorial tutorial document inside this collection. Then we have to populate the comment object IDs, whatever the comment you have posted. The images, you have to push the new image without even removing the existing images. And while you assign, update, delete category or add the category, I mean single category, you have to put the object ID of category inside this blog collection. I mean, this is how we actually create the relationships here. If you wanted to have, you can also create another collection which is user, because user is actually the author, right? So here we can have name, email, and something like this, and this is going to have a relationship with the author. So here we have author. Author will be of representing schema, it's not an array. Okay, close. Now you can see author is representing user object ID. Images is just an array of collections, array of some JSON objects. Comments is an array of comment IDs. Category is a category object. And how we are going to write the models, that is also decided based on this, like how we will define the blog collection. So blog model we are going to write there, we will say, okay, comments is nothing but an array of object IDs of type comment. Okay, category is a single object of category inside the blog collection. Okay, so this is just a definitions, we don't need to show the relationships and all. It's all managed through these references because we are storing the references. And in the Mongoose we can do dot populate, because while I'm fetching the blog, I can do dot populate comments, dot populate category, and all the referenced data will be fetched from there. Dot populate author. Okay, so let's see that in the action. Let's see the code and we will see how it is being done. So first of all, we will create all the models for our collection. So first we will try to create tutorial. Okay, tutorial is important because tutorial contains all the things. So here we can start creating category tutorials and all. First, let's create all the child collections. Const category equal to mongoose dot model, and here what we do is we create the model name and the schema, which is okay, new mongoose dot schema, and here we specify what all columns, what all fields it is going to have. Like let's say name is of type string, description is of type string. Let's keep these only two. And then we have comments. Comments is another collection. I can just copy paste and create all these collections. So these are called models, which is going to represent a collection. So here it is comment mongoose.model, and here we can specify, okay, comment is done by username, text, and this is created at is of type date. Let's keep it. So this is our comment. Why it is showing error? Mongoose.model, this is comment, this is category. I'm not sure it will go away. Okay. So we have comments, we have category. That was just useless error. Then we have images. So I have created a schema for the image also. This is an embedded reference, but we still have to create a collection. So here we have a path, we have a URL, and we have caption is of type string, and then created at, which is of type date. So we have const image, and then we can think of tutorial. So this is the last model. Okay, in the tutorial we have title, author, and all these properties. So in tutorial we are going to have let's say, it can be tutorial or the blog. It's a title, author, and then we have images, which is going to be an array, and then we have comments, an array of object IDs of type comment. So here we will specify the type, and here type is mongoose.schema.type.object id. This will be the type, and this is the reference. The reference is, here is comment. This is the model name to which you are creating the association. Okay, so this is our comment, and then we have category, and category is an object. So here the type will again be the same, mongoose.schema.type object id, and the reference, name of reference is category. Okay, so this is how we have created all the collections, and we can do export all these things. Module.exports, we can export tutorial, image, comment, category. Comments, category, image, and we have tutorial. Okay, all these things, and now what we can do is we can just play around with these collections we have created. So what we can do is we can import all these inside index.js. So these are all collections we have: images, comments, category, and we'll move to index.js. So this we got from models.js, and here we are creating the database connection. Okay, now what all things we can do? First of all, you can create independently tutorial, you can create images, right? All those operations we can simply perform. Okay, so I will write some simple functions. What we can do is we will start with simple is const create tutorial. This is a simple function, and in this function we are getting some data, the tutorial, and what we need to do is return. Here we are getting tutorial reference, tutorial model instance. We can just call create or save, and we pass the tutorial object. It is going to return the promise, and it is going to return tutorial. Okay, and we can return the tutorial. That's it. Or let's change the name. Document tutorial we are returning, and we can simply say is console.log tutorial created. So this is the first method, which is creating tutorial. Now create image. Create image is we have one collection, right? Let's use simple functions. Inside this function, what do we have is, so we wanted to add an image. So how we are going to add? We are going to add an image to a tutorial, right? So we need to use the tutorial ID, and the image which you are going to add, right? So this is the place where you need to understand how we can insert, how we can update the data into multiple collections. It looks like the code is not getting updated on time, and that is fine. So here what we are doing is image, this is the collection name, dot create. I am passing image object which I wanted to create, dot then it will return the image document which has been created, and then I can play with this. Okay, there is a tutorial collection there also. We need to, so you are actually adding a new image to an existing tutorial, right? So here you can call this method find by id and update. This method you can call, and what this method takes is your tutorial id and the new image which you wanted to add. Image is actually an array, so it will be a little bit different. So here this is the object we are passing. So what we are doing is we are just doing a push onto this array of images which we have. So inside images array, just pass this document like this. Okay, we have created a image and we are just inserting that inside a tutorial. URL document image dot URL and caption document image dot caption. That's it. So what we did is we created an image and we also populated that image inside a tutorial. And there is another argument which you can pass in this object is, okay, if this is not found, then create new one. So this object ends here, looks like, and here we can say is if you didn't find any record, then create a new record with this. Okay, this is create image. Now create comment. Similarly, we can do create comment. I will quickly do this. Create comment, that is also we are going to associate with a tutorial ID, because comments, the references of the comments are being stored inside tutorial. So what we are doing is here we will create a comment dot create. Here we are passing comment, and then once we receive a document, that document we can pass in the comment. So here first we have created a comment, we got the document comment, and here we are doing tutorial dot find by id and update, passing the tutorial id. This can be a little bit different here. First of all, why it is reporting? Okay, now this is fine. Here we are doing create comment tutorial dot find by id and update. So we are passing tutorial id, and because now we have already created a new comment, right? So how it is going to work is in this object we can just pass $push, and you have to pass we have to pass the new id in the comments array, right? So what we have to do is document comment.id, so it will push it there. So this is our first object, and then the next thing we are doing is we can pass the same. So this is create comment. Now create category is there. Create category is independent. You create a category and you return that category. Category dot create some category you are passing, and you will return that category once that is created. Document category dot create, you are passing category here. That's it. So we have category, we have comments, all those things are there. Now we can start creating things. So let's say first I create a tutorial. Okay, so I can just simply say is const run equal to some async function, and here I can say is first let's create a tutorial. Await, and we can call this method create tutorial, right? It is returning a promise, create tutorial, and inside this you can pass an object. Okay, what is the object? Title is something, author is something, right? So once the tutorial is created, we can start creating the images, right? First let's create a tutorial is done. Okay, let's do it like this. Once tutorial is there, we can create image. And how do we do that? Await, create image. I mean, this is the concept. Simply what I'm trying to explain is you create a tutorial, you create image, and then you start embedding the references. Create image, and in the image we are passing two arguments, right? Tutorial dot underscore id and your image object, which contains, okay, there is a path, there is a url, there is a caption, something like that, right? So this is the image is created. Now once image is there, you will create a comment, and for comment you will do the same thing. So here we will call create comment. I'm passing tutorial id and all the attributes which you wanted to pass for the comment. Here you are passing tutorial.id and the object which you wanted to create as a comment. All these are type string, so it will work. So we have created comment, we have created category, we have created image. So we can also create a category, and further we will just populate all those things inside tutorial. Create category, and here we don't need to pass anything. It is simple. Okay, how we are going to create category? So we got category, comments, image, tutorials, right? Now what we can do is we can start adding tutorial to a category, adding category to a tutorial, adding image to a tutorial, adding comments to a tutorial. All those things, operations we can perform, right? So there are methods which we can write. Let's say const, here we can, so we have almost all the methods. There is one method which we need to add is add tutorial to a category, right? Like when we have tutorial id and we have category id, we have to push the category id into tutorial document, right? Here we are doing find by id and update, and we are passing tutorial id, sorry, category id in the tutorial collection. So Here we are creating tutorial, then we are adding the image to tutorial. Here we are adding a comment to the tutorial, and this method also we can call, which is adding. So here we got the category ID, and we can call this method, which will just add category to the tutorial, and it is taking tutorial ID. We need to pass two arguments, tutorial ID and category dot underscore ID. Once this is done, we should be able to actually we have created lots of data. Now what we can do after this is we can start populating the information. And how we can do this? We can populate the lot of things, like you can read the whole tutorial. Like I can create a simple function, get all data. What does that function will do is it is taking ID as input, which is tutorial ID. So here I can do is return tutorial dot find by ID. Find by ID, here you can pass the ID, and then here you can start populating the data. So you can populate comments, and you can do a chain of this. You can populate something else like category. You can, I have only two things which are referenced here, the comments and category, and I can show that. You can also fetch things by category. Okay, let's say I wanted to fetch the tutorials by category. So get tutorials in category. So here I'm passing category ID. Return me populate all the categories, populate all the comments. This is how you can do this based on category ID. So the objective of this exercise is to explain how we can define our models and how we can persist and fetch the data. Here you can create independently comment, independently category, independently images, and then you start adding those things based on category ID, based on tutorial ID to the tutorial collection, like images. You will add comments, which you are doing dollar push. The images you are doing dollar push. It's like you created a tutorial. Now based on tutorial ID, you will do find by tutorial and update comments, find by tutorial based on ID and update category, find by tutorial based on ID and update comments, update images. This is how it is working. So this is just a simple demo. When you do it with the node.js, you will get more idea how you manage the different models and how you persist the data, fetch the data from different collections.